On Global TV News Express, federal government secures over $1 billion to drive healthcare reforms. A business, the Corporate Affairs Commission blames stamp duties payment failure on portal glitches. On the foreign scene, authorities order evacuations in Los Angeles zones as wildfires press. And in sports, Gus Gift moves to Shooting Stars from Bielsa United. Hello and a very warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Express on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I'm Muyi Agumofwegbe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. We sincerely apologize for that glitch with our broadcast. It was occasioned by technical problems which have now been resolved. We appreciate your understanding and patience. Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Salako, says the federal government has secured more than $1 billion in concessional financing and grants to accelerate reforms aimed at transforming Nigeria's healthcare system. Speaking at the maiden edition of the Business Day Health Conference in Abuja, Dr. Salako said the funds sourced through partnerships with the World Health Organization, the United States Agency for International Development, and the World Bank, as well as others, are being deployed to strengthen governance, upgrade infrastructure, expand access, and stimulate private sector participation. He noted that the ongoing reforms go beyond policies, describing them as foundational efforts that go far beyond healthcare delivery. The Federal Executive Council has approved the creation of the National Council on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, announced these during a media briefing on sustainable efforts to address the humanitarian challenges caused by the partial suspension of World Food Programme operations in Nigeria's northeast and northwestern regions. Kikelemo Okere has details.
The Minister of State for Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, says the Council will oversee and guide humanitarian activities across the country and will be led by the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. He noted that the Council aims to ensure efficient coordination between the Federal Ministry as well as state and local government to improve implementation and monitoring of humanitarian programs.
Our status that we made the country when the ministry is considered as a cash and carry and business as usual enterprises. So Mr. President is focusing on the fact that we must redeem the image of the ministry and institute principle of accountability and transparency.
He says the initiative is part of the government's wider strategy to enhance poverty alleviation and humanitarian responses, particularly to fill gaps resulting from the disruption in WFP activities in affected regions.
And therefore, we have to develop a memo to the Federal Executive Council, which has got the approval of the Council, to have National Council on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. This will give us a way to develop a program that is not a federal program, but a national program in its right from inception, implementations, and oversight, so that we can have a document that will give us on our own.
The minister emphasized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to restoring the ministry reputation by promoting accountability and transparency in its operations. Kiken Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
In a bid to tackle growing concerns around inequality in Nigeria, Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on National Economic Council, Rukaya El-Rufai, has called on Nigerian youths to rise above apathy and hold public officials accountable. She made the call at a special youth dialogue on inequality in Abuja. Ubangu Soro reports.
At the Special National Dialogue on Inequality, the Special Advisor to the President on the National Economic Council, Rukaya El-Rufai, emphasized the need for young Nigerians to reject politicians who fail to implement people-centered policies. She urged them to support and reward leaders who demonstrate integrity and a commitment to justice.
Create equal opportunities and platforms that creates that and creates platforms for social mobility. And the silver bullet here is truly education. Then the healthcare, access to healthcare. Investing in human capital largely.
Senator representing the Federal Capital Territory, Ireti Kengibe, stated that inequality in Nigeria goes beyond gender issues as it affects all sectors and contributes significantly to the country's current socio-economic challenges. She stressed that addressing inequality holistically is key to national development and called on young people to use their voices and numbers to drive real policy change.
One of the things I keep saying is that I would be pleased to be part of the assembly that opens the doors for women to attend, to be at the table, to be part of governance and policy making.
Participants were encouraged to become ambassadors of equity and justice, ensuring that the fight against inequality remains a collective responsibility. Ubon Usoro for Global Television.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has reiterated its commitments to ensure that eligible inmates in Nigeria's correctional facilities are not denied their constitutional right to vote. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, gave the assurance during a courtesy visit by the Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Sylvester Nwankuche, at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. And Yetie Patrick has more.
Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, says the Commission is pushing for clear legal provisions to make inmates voting a reality. Yakubu says voting is a human right which cannot be taken away from citizens simply because they are serving time in correctional facilities, particularly those awaiting trial.
I wish to reassure you, the Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, that we are united with you in our shared determination to extend voting rights to inmates of our correctional facilities. A meeting like this goes a long way in reaffirming our resolve in this regard.
The INEC chairman cited previous court rulings affirming the voting rights of inmates awaiting trial. He noted that discussions are ongoing with the correctional service to address logistical issues such as voter registration inside facilities, creation of polling units, voter education, and access for election observers and political parties. Yakubu also called for electoral reforms to clarify Section 12 of the Electoral Act, which currently leaves room for different interpretations on inmates' eligibility.
Election is a process governed by law. Again, working together, we can seize the opportunity of the ongoing electoral reform for a clear legal provision that will specifically cover citizens serving time in our correctional facilities. Doing so will clarify the provision of Section 12, subsection 1E of the Electoral Act 2022 on voter registration.
Earlier, the Controller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, Sylvester Nwankuche, noted that the essence of their visit is to strengthen interagency collaboration for inmates' voting rights.
The inmates of this great nation, I represent them as the Controller General of Corrections. Over 81,000 of them, of which over 66% are awaiting trial persons who are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Even while as convicts or awaiting trial persons, they do have rights. And part of those rights are rights I'm here this morning to discuss with the INEC chairman to see how we can, if possible, extend some of these rights to these inmates.
The meeting also recognized the role of civil society groups like the Carmelites Prisoners' Interest Organization in advocating for inmate voting and welcomed the support of the National Assembly's electoral committees for greater inclusivity. Anieti Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Thank you, Anieti. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, says it will carry out a thorough investigation into the real estate sector as part of concerted efforts to curb corruption. Executive Chairman of the Commission, Ola Olukoyede, made this known at an event organized by the Law Corridor firm on policy dialogue on the critical issues affecting Nigeria's real estate ecosystem in Abuja. Kabir Hassan has details.
Executive Chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, lamented that many abandoned estates in the country were funded by civil servants through stolen public funds. Olukoyede, in his keynote address on policy dialogue on critical issues affecting Nigerian real estate ecosystem, said the investigation will begin in the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Abuja. He added that the agency will collaborate with other sectors and stakeholders in the real estate sector to ensure that the investigations are true.
I've set up a team. We'll start visiting all the estates across, not only Abuja, across Nigeria. We want to know who owns what.
According to him, the action is to determine real owners of land across the FCT and possibly identify whether the estates are product of illicit transactions.
It will shock you that some of these estates have been abandoned for 20 years, 10 years. They just take it to a level and they abandon it. Nobody knows what is going on. And you know, the little thing, what we have been able to gather is that most of these estates were funded by civil servants who have stolen money.
EFCC boss pleaded with Nigerians to collaborate with the EFCC as is being done by the Law Corridor firm to fish out the criminals using real estate sector to launder stolen public funds. Hassan Kabir reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Kabir. The Nigerian Governors Forum has named Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State as its Governor of the Year 2025. The forum says the honor is in recognition of Eno's leadership, transparency, and achievements under the Arise agenda as the award was presented at the public unveiling of the socio-economic impact assessment of the Arise agenda is held at the Government House in Uyo. In another development, the Progressive Governors Forum has given Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State a special recognition award for exemplary leadership and transformative governance, noting that it is anchored on youth empowerment, innovation, and inclusive development. The award was presented at the official opening of the forum's quarterly meeting of Commissioners for Youth and Sports in APC-governed states. The forum also praised its achievements in education, digital learning, industrialization, agricultural modernization, and health interventions, all driven by a data-informed, transparent approach to leadership. You're watching the live broadcast of News Express. When the rest of the news returns, authorities order evacuations in Los Angeles zones as wildfire spreads. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. This news broadcast now returns with business. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, has blamed the recent failure of stamp duties payments on its portal on incompatibility between its newly upgraded system and those of partner agencies. The Commission disclosed this in a statement posted on its official X, formerly Twitter handle, assuring users that a permanent fix is being worked on and is close to completion. The Commission also noted that the glitch occurred following the deployment of a new and more advanced portal that is currently ahead of the systems used by collaborating agencies responsible for processing stamp duties. Minister of State for Defense Bello Matawalle has commissioned a Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria DICON office in Abuja. Matawalle said the corporation will be used for local production of military hardware. Topsy Gimba has the rest of the story.
The Minister of State Defense Bello Matawalle says the Commission of Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria will save Nigeria's foreign exchange and provides military collaboration and fighting insecurity in the country.
We are shared investment of resources, expertise, and trust is a testament to what can be achieved when vision is matched with action.
The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, said with the commission of DICON has stopped the importation of military hardware into the country.
I must use this opportunity to commend DICON for the bold initiative when it comes to charting the way forward in terms of our self-sufficiency in military hardware production.
Meanwhile, the National Chairman of Progressive Congress APC, Professor Nintawe Yewalda, eulogized President Bola Tinubu and his renewed hope agenda, saying that the administration has spent over 1.5 trillion naira only for defense. He expressed optimism that insecurity will soon be defeated.
The government has put in money to build a new economy around the youths. The same thing we are seeing in defense and the economy also.
The Chief Executive Officer DICON, Major General M.A. Manawasa, and the Director General DICON, Major General I.B. Alaya, including the Accountant General of the Federation, attended the ceremony. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
Well, thank you, Topsy. And still talking business, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi says the country is fully prepared to stand its ground. This comes hours after U.S. President Donald Trump signed an executive order raising tariffs on India to 50% as a penalty over oil purchases from Russia. Zerao Nasir completes the report.
Indian exporters have warned that the cost of additional U.S. tariffs risks making businesses not viable after President Donald Trump ordered stiffer levies totaling 50% on imported Indian goods. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says he is willing to pay a great personal price, while opposition Congress party leader Rahul Gandhi called the levies economic blackmail and attempt to bully India into an unfair trade deal. Stocks opened marginally lower on Thursday, with the benchmark Nifty index down 0.31% after an initial 25% U.S. tariff came into effect. That levy will be doubled in 3 weeks after Trump signed an order to impose an additional 25% tariff because of New Delhi's continued purchases of Russian oil, a key revenue source for Moscow's war in Ukraine. Zahra Nasir reporting for Global TV News.
Let's move away from Zarao's report now and take you to the foreign scene where Ghana's President John Mahama has announced a full investigation into the helicopter crash that killed 8 people, including 2 government ministers and 3 members of the Ghana Armed Forces. In his first address since the accident, Mahama said flight data and voice recorders have been recorded and a board of inquiry is examining the cause. Again, Zarao Nasrio has the rest of the report.
President Mahama has referred to the victims of the sad incident as some of Ghana's brightest minds, stating that a state funeral will be held on August 15.
The government is in close touch with the bereaved families about identification of the bodies and final interment.
The presidency has said the country's defense and environment ministers were killed in a military helicopter crash on Wednesday after the Air Force chopper carrying 3 crew and 5 passengers came down in a forest in the country's south. Ghanaian media reported that the helicopter was on its way to an event on illegal mining, a major environmental issue in the West African country. Zahra Nasr reporting for Global TV News.
Thank you, Zarao. Let's move away from Africa now. Authorities say bushfire in a mountainous area north of Los Angeles in California has triggered evacuations in 2 United States counties, scorching nearly 5,000 acres, 2,000 hectares. At least 10 zones in Los Angeles and Ventura counties were under evacuation orders, with 2,700 residents displaced as of Thursday morning. At least 400 personnel have reportedly been deployed to contain the fire. In the meantime, the United States has offered a €50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, doubling an earlier reward of $25 million set by the Trump administration in January. In a video posted to social media announcing the increase in reward money, United States Attorney General Pam Bondi accused Maduro of collaborating with Venezuelan crime syndicates Tren de Aragua, Cartel of the Suns, and the notorious Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. The U.S. has also accused the Venezuelan leader of being one of the world's leading narcotic traffickers and working with cartels to flood the United States with fentanyl-laced cocaine. And in sports, Elkanah Gosgift has sealed a move to Shooting Stars ahead of the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL season. Gosgift signed a 2-year deal with the Oluyole Warriors. The goalkeeper previously played for Bayelsa United, Abia Warriors, Katsina United, and Akwa Ibom United. And beyond our shores, Manchester City has set to hijack Manchester United's move to sign Carlos Baleba from Brighton. Reports say the Seagulls have slapped a €104 million price tag on Baleba. Earlier this week, United made contact via intermediaries in a bid to explore the conditions of a move for the midfielder. In another development, Manchester United winger Alejandro Garnacho has sorted out personal terms with Chelsea ahead of a possible move. Garnacho is now waiting for the 2 Premier League clubs to agree a transfer fee. This was confirmed by Fabrizio Romano, an independent Italian sports journalist and influencer. Let's now end News Express on Global Television with a look at some of our big stories. The Federal Executive Council has approved the creation of the National Council on Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. In business, Minister of State's Defense Bello Metawale has commissioned a Defense Industry Corporation of Nigeria DICON office in Abuja. On the foreign scene, a bushfire in mountainous area north of Los Angeles triggered evacuations in 2 U.S. counties, scorching nearly 5,000 acres and 2,000 hectares, according to authorities. And finally, in sports, we told you Elkanah Gosgift has sealed the move to Shooting Stars ahead of the 2025-2026 Premier League football season. And that's your Global News Express. Just a quick reminder that we are on DSTV channels 365 and Star Times 276. You can also follow as well as engage with us across social media platforms using our Global TV NG as well as other handles as you now see on your screen. I am Uyi Agmofwegbe. Thank you for watching and see you again.